All right, we're live. Hey, everybody, this is Matt Ferry. I'm joined here today with Mariah Phillips. We're going to get more in depth here in a second, but we're going to wait for some people to join us. But my name is Matt Ferry. Like I said, I was chairman of the Rutherford County Democratic Party for 2 years. I also ran for State House in District 48 in 2018 and 2020. And we're here today to talk about, recruitment, candidate recruitment for 22 and 24 and so on. It's so important that we get new candidates to step up and run. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But, if you don't see a need, maybe you're not paying attention. There is a need, a big need for new blood to step up in some of these roles. And we're not just talking about the big races. We're talking about the small races too. We're going to go through all that, but, basically we have 21 county commission seats up in 22. There's also county mayor. There's also city mayor. There's also 3 city council seats on top of the 4 state house seats and 1 state senate seat that we have up in 22. We've got another state senate seat that will be up in 24. And then, of course, Congress. So there's a lot of places for you to run if you're interested in running. And it's maybe easier than you think. It's an involved process and it can be stressful. It's a lot, but we can help you with that. And really, that's part of what we're doing right here is to tell you a little bit about our recruitment efforts, to invite you to future meetings, to future workshops. But before we do that, let me introduce our good friend, Democratic powerhouse, in Rutherford County, Mariah Phillips. Mariah, would you like to introduce yourself?
I will. My name is Mariah Phillips, and you always embarrass me when you say that. I am a former candidate myself. I have run for U.S. Congress in 2018, and I ran for Tennessee State House here in Rutherford County in 2020. And, one of the things that really excited me about both of those races is how much we saw Democrats move the needle, especially here in Rutherford County. And so a lot of that work has to do with having great candidates like yourself and like me and like some other people that were on the ticket that really worked hard to connect to the voters and get them to understand how important it is for them to show up to the polls. So often in Tennessee, we do hear that, Democrats are alone or it's a lost cause and it's, but it's really not. And in Rutherford County, we vote 44% Democrat, across the county. And so, one of the things that really is exciting is seeing that inch closer and closer to 50, because all you need is 50% plus 1 in order to win a seat. And so that's what we're continuing to work for, is getting that 50 plus 1 to cross that finish line. And so I am a business leader here in the community as well. I currently am the manager for Starbucks Coffee, and I have been a teacher for many years here in Rutherford County Schools. I'm grateful for all the hard work that our teachers do. I have to say I'm grateful also that I'm not teaching in a time of COVID, because those teachers have a lot to handle this year, and they truly are just a blessing to our students, and they need all the support they can get. So we got to win some of these seats so our county teachers and our city schools teachers can get the support that they need.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned, I'm sorry, hold on one second, having difficulties. I'm glad that you mentioned that it's it's a process, and that you got to start somewhere. You got to start from the beginning, and we can help you with all that. But it's so badly needed at this time, and it's easier than you think. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that some of these races are won by just a handful of votes, and especially on a local level. Some of these races are going to be decided by 200-300 votes. And so if you can go into a neighborhood and show people that you are a compassionate human being, that you actually care about their needs, they will vote for you. Because, at the end of the day, we can talk about partisanship and all that stuff. When you're dealing on a local level, you're kind of dealing with less of that. But something that I found, and I think you would agree with me, is a lot of people just want it to work. They just want leaders to go in there and make the safety of their citizens a priority and just make everything work, and they don't have to worry about so much. Unfortunately, I think we have pretty lousy leadership. Locally, it's okay, but the state.
Well, locally, I do want to point out that we do have, some of our local leaders under federal investigation for campaign finance fraud. So, just want to say, it is important who we vote for and who we elect into those offices. So, I probably shouldn't say too much because I'm currently applying to be on a board for to be on the redistricting committee, but I'm hoping to get on that committee because how our districts are drawn really makes a difference. But I just want to say, locally, it's hit and miss.
Yeah, I'm trying to be very nice right now and not say anything too crazy. But some of these county commissioners, they've been there for 40 years, literally. Yeah. And when you ask them what they done for their district, they have very little to show.
Yeah.
So we absolutely need new blood. And some people might think that the county commission isn't that powerful or, isn't as, exciting as some of the other roles. Yeah, sure, you're not getting paid as much as some of the bigger races, but let me tell you something. People need it. People need representation. There's a lot of people who are struggling. And if you live out in a county, you have very fewer elected officials working for you. It's the city council will work with you, but if you don't live inside the city, they're going to be less likely to drop everything they're doing to help you.
You're absolutely right.
And these county commissioners, some of the decisions they make involve the law enforcement budget, the sheriff's office budget, which controls 940, the prison up there. There's some important decisions that have been made and that will have to be made in the near future concerning all that. It also controls the county school budget, which is very important. And especially in Rutherford County, it's a blessing that we have so many people moving in here from out of the county, from out of the state, but we're not building schools fast enough. So that's one of the challenges that county commission is dealing with right now.
And that's one other issue that the county commission is dealing with. And of course, talking to you, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. The fact that our dump here in Rutherford County, which takes trash from, I think, 24 different counties across Middle Tennessee, we don't have much time before that dump is at capacity. And so we need to figure out, our county leaders are the ones that figure out what happens with, our dump. How do we move forward? And they're currently looking at different vendors and different ideas on how to move forward with taking care of the waste management in our county. So that's another really important thing that they do. The environmental impacts are huge.
Right. You don't really want to mention landfills around me because I will start talking about it and it'll take over everything. But
all right.
There's a lot of problems. Let's just say this. There's a lot of problems concerning that dump. It's not over by a long shot, even if it closes tomorrow, which it's not. There's still all kinds of questions about cleanup and about what's already been dumped there. But these are kind of decisions that are made on a county commission level. And if we're not thinking about the future, that landfill is they're dealing with technology that's from 50, 60 years ago with a landfill that's about 30 years old at this point, 25 years old. And we're not thinking about solutions to try to have zero waste in our area or try to mitigate the waste in a correct way. And of course, there's all kinds of problems with recycling as well, since China quit taking our plastics. But let's just say that it's not a great situation. It could get a whole lot worse, and it could be, a catastrophe.
Yeah.
But right now, as you see, rates for dumping have increased. Whether that's in your face or not, one fee has been latched onto the water bill. I know, but even fees to dump off in the county have increased. And when that happens, people will start chucking it out their window. And I did see lately that County Mayor Ketron has said that they're going to increase the fees on that. I'm not sure if they've done that yet, but this is part of the problem here is that, it's great that we're growing. It's great that Rutherford County is getting all these new residents, but if we're not growing the right way, if we're not thinking about what the future of Rutherford County looks like, we're going to let the developers call the shots. We're going to let people whose best interests aren't exactly the people's best interest call the shots. And so we need a big change here locally.
Well, let's talk about how we're going to get that change.
Yes.
And I actually, we do have a presentation to share with the folks today. And so while we are giving our presentation, I do want to add, I'm following along with our Facebook feed, and we do have some people already asking questions about running for office. And so I want to make sure that we get to those questions. So Matt, as you are transitioning to the slideshow, I'm going to go ahead and start and bring up this one question. Would you advise newbies applying for committees to get your feet wet, or just jumping into some of the deeper waters of school board, county commission, etc.? I'm going to actually recommend that you go where your passion lies, because you're going to be most effective if you're able to speak to the issues that are important to you. School board is definitely a great place if you're passionate about education, if you're passionate about young people, and the future of our community. Then jumping into the school board is a place that we definitely need people. I know that you mentioned there are several seats up. That's a rotating board. So half of the seats on our county school board are available in 2022. And the other ones were just elected in 2020. And so depending on where you live might determine whether or not 2022 is the right year for you to run for that position. Our city schools, if you live in Murfreesboro City, that also has some openings this year. But I definitely say that starting at the county commission level or the school board level is a great way to get your feet wet. But if you are, really passionate and not afraid to do the hard work, and you're passionate about legislation, running for state house is a place where a lot of people jump in. And it's not a bad place to start either. Rutherford County, as much of it as it's growing, is also a small enough county that your name can get out there pretty quick. And so, especially if you're starting soon. Let's go ahead and go to the slideshow now.
Absolutely. No, that was great. All right. We are going to start the slideshow.
I'm going to step away for one moment here while you're doing that so I can grab my phone charger.
Sure. All right. Again, we thank you for being here tonight. We are here to talk about our recruitment efforts and to talk to you about running for office. If you're not sure about it, we will be answering any questions you want to put in the comment box. And of course, we'll be available after this. We'll give our contact information out if you ever want to contact me or Mariah directly on this. And like we said before, there's so many positions, there's so many places. Even if you're unsure about running in 22, you could help out a campaign that is active in 22, and that could prepare you for running for office in 24 or beyond. So please think about joining our other meetings and joining our other training. With that, Mariah, are you back with us?
I am. Thank you.
Okay. You just tell me okay when you want me to do the slide.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
This is our candidate interest session that's going to kind of give you an outline of what our plans are. So the purpose of this call is to spark interest and answer questions about running for office. So go ahead, Matt. Point blank, we need more people to run for office. Matt said it earlier. There are a lot of different positions available, and many people are afraid that they're not ready to run. And, that is such a common fear, especially as a woman. I will say, women have to be asked 7 times before they even think that it's possible to run for office. Men, for some reason, just jump right in. But women definitely, especially, need that extra encouragement. But you know what? I can tell you right now that our U.S. Congressman, Scott DesJarlais, he had no political experience. He was a doctor before he got elected into office, and not a very good one. And so you don't need to have legislative experience to run. What you need to have, I believe, is a passion for people and, the ability to work hard. And so everyone brings something different to the table. And so as we're going through this, as you're thinking about running for office, I want you to consider what skills and passions and perspectives you bring to the conversation. One of the reasons that AOC is so effective in Congress now is because she's very passionate and she has a perspective that needed to be represented in the U.S. Congress. And so everyone has a place to serve, and where you come from, what your story is something that you need to bring to the campaign. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. All right, so we are going to lead three-hour sessions called Ready, Fight, and Win, starting in March. And so one of the reasons why we're having this workshop is to let people know that they can sign up for these seminars. The Ready seminar is going to be on March 13th. Fight will be on April 10th, and Win will be on May 8th. And so there will be some homework that you're going to do in between these sessions, but these are going to be the dates of our upcoming sessions. Go ahead, Matt. So kind of a timeline so you can see what we're looking at. In March, for Ready, we're going to be talking about how to develop your message. We're utilizing different resources that both Matt and I and other candidates have experienced ourselves, resources that we found that we want to share with you. We're going to talk about how to research the issues and how to prepare a campaign calendar. The reason why this is the first one is because this is what you want to do kind of before you really step out as a candidate. So that's what we're going to be talking about in March. And then in April, we're going to be talking about how to fight, what we're doing during the course of the campaign, how to create a campaign plan, a campaign budget, how to raise money, which, money is the ugly part of politics, but it's so important to make sure that you have enough money to get your message out. And so there's lots of different ways to do that. And Matt and I will both share some of the different ways that we use both paid and non-paid resources to get our message out. You don't need to spend your own money to run for office. And I'm going to encourage you, unless you're sitting on a big fat wad of cash, don't spend your own money. Get people to invest in you and to believe in you. And those people, that support you will also vote for you. And that's really important. And so we'll be talking about the fight lesson in April. And then in May, we're going to talk about what it's going to take to win. So we're going to, that'll be the time that we're cultivating volunteers. We're creating a field plan. We'll use some resources that are available to you for how to organize those last couple of days of the campaign. We're going to be talking about the difference between persuasion and turnout, and when we need to start thinking about persuasion and when we need to start thinking about turnout. So those are the things that we're going to be doing in the win section. And then, just for everyone's information, we will be repeating these sessions every month for the rest of the year. So in June, we will do Ready again. July will be Fight, and August will be Win. We're going to do 4 sessions, starting with this first session in March. And our last session will be next January, February, and March. And then we're going to stop, because guess what? Then it's time to actually kick your campaign in gear. And if you're not ready by March, you're probably not going to be ready to run. So we want to go ahead and get these wheels turning. The sooner, the better, because the election, although it feels far away, is right around the corner.
Right. Yeah, it literally is. And so we're going to try to train as many people as we can. Like we said, we do have a process for this, Ready, Fight, Win. But if you want to join at any time, we can try to catch you up, or you can go to the next one. But, it is a process. There are things you have to learn. There is a bit of a learning curve, but it's really not, it's really not rocket science. Anybody can do this.
Yeah.
And if you come to it with some skills, with some speaking skills, with maybe some savvy fundraising skills or tech skills, it can help you out. But you know what? You don't even actually need that. As long as you can talk to your neighbor and convince them to vote for you, convince them that you're the right person for the job and that you actually have the residents' interests at heart, then they will vote for you. So you want me to go to this next slide? I just wanted to add that in here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go to the next one.
Okay. I think that was the last one.
So although you don't need those skills, they're definitely helpful to have. So that we're going to help you identify the skills that you already have and then help you develop the ones that you don't. And so as we're moving to the next slide, that might be the last.
I'm actually out of slides here.
That's actually the last slide. That's what I thought. So go back one more slide, Matt, so we can look at the dates again for this.
Yeah.
So we will talk more on March 13th. That's going to be the initial date of our first class. There will be a sign-up form available on the Rutherford County Democratic Party website this evening when we finish this call, and that will give you an opportunity to sign up for the web series. I'm hoping that sometime in this year we can actually do this live. But if you are thinking about running for office or really interested in volunteering for a campaign or even working on staff for a campaign, having this knowledge and these skills and resources available to you will be incredibly helpful. And so I know we have several people that are watching this today, and I just want to see if anybody else has any other questions to put that in the chat. And if not, I look forward to seeing you guys linked in on March 13th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that all of this is free. We are not charging folks to do these trainings. And we have taken a considerable amount of time out of our days to put this together. We also are working with materials that Laura Bowling has put together. She's a former candidate. She did a great job. We're very thankful for Laura Bowling's work on this. But like I said, we have a lot of things that we can teach you. We have a lot of tips. If you're more than a rookie to this, we have some helpful things that we can share with you. But yeah, it's not rocket science. You do have to raise some money, but especially for these smaller races, you target some neighborhoods, you can win it. You go in there and you talk to folks either digitally or knocking on their door. Hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. There'll be people who will want to vote for you. So yeah, I'm going to stop sharing this PowerPoint now.
All right. And Matt, one of the things that you said reminded me of just this week, Tim Rudd has put forward legislation to try to restrict voting rights for Tennesseans. And this is not the first time that he's done that. But I'm not sure if I actually posted this on Twitter or if I just thought of it. But, Tim Rudd has a special interest in not letting people vote. It's Correct. One of the reasons why at Patterson Park, it's no longer a voting location, because they know there are a lot of people that probably would vote Democratic that live in the neighborhood surrounding Patterson Park that would easily walk to the polling location if it existed. And that is in Tim Rudd's district. And, if Tim Rudd, which is in State House District 34, that district is one of the fastest growing districts in the country. And one of the ways that it's growing is in its diversity. Eagleville is not growing all that much. It's the Cason Lane area. It's the Blackman area. It's the even downtown Murfreesboro. And so those areas that Tim Rudd currently reigns over, probably wouldn't vote for him if they turn out to vote. But he does whatever he can to restrict the voting access to those voters. And so, who is in office currently is truly having an impact on the rights of the people that they are supposed to represent. And we know that in the Supreme Court this week, the Republican Party came in and said, if we let everyone vote, we're going to lose. And the truth is that exists here in Tennessee as well. And so let's do everything we can to get ready to fight and win in 2022. And And I'm really excited about hosting this workshop. And I'm really excited about working with you, Matt, as we move forward.
Yeah, thank you. Mariah, you remind me of a U.S. senator, I won't name any names, who recently decided to fly out of the country while his state was dealing with massive power outages thanks to the large snowstorm that just came and swept across our country. And I want to speak about that for a second because
hey, really quickly, I do want to answer a question that came through. I don't want to lose this.
Sure.
Stacy Nunley asked if anyone knows if the county commission districts will be redistricted, and the answer is yes. Stacy, that actually there is an application for one citizen to join the redistricting committee. I'm actually putting in my application. I have it sitting right here. It was just released on Monday. And anybody else that's interested in applying for that one position, then please apply. We need to that needs to be a Democrat if at all possible. So that's going to take a lot of work just to get on that commission. But I do want to let people know that county commission district will be redistricted before the election. Now, how much movement is made, I have no idea, because I don't know if they'll be adding any county commission seats. Those will all be things that are going to be decided based on the census that we did in 2020 and how those numbers fall through. And so the county commission, we might be adding county commission districts in 2022 potentially. Either that or they'll just be getting larger.
Yeah, and we don't know when that's going to happen. We hope that's going to happen earlier in 22 than later. It's got to happen before the qualifying deadlines.
Yeah, no, the redistricting committee for the county commission is being formed now. And so that will, I believe that's supposed to be done by August of this year. But that does not mean that the state redistricting will be finished by that time. But the county ones, I believe, will be finished by August.
Well, that's good because qualifying deadline for those county and city roles are going to happen in February because the final, the primary is going to be in May and the general election is going to be in August for those local seats. But yeah, right now we're working under the assumption that the maps aren't going to change too much. I mean, we can't do anything else but work with the maps we got.
Yeah.
But
Arnold has a question as well. Okay. How many are on the redistricting commission? I just heard this on Monday night at the steering committee. I believe there will be 7 people total. There will be one Democrat and one Republican, I believe, from the election commission. So I'm not sure if that will be Carolyn Cox or Judy Whitehill. There will be one county commissioner or 2 county commissioners who more than likely will be Republicans, since there's only one Democrat sitting on the county commission. There will be somebody from GIS and a couple of other staff people that will be on that committee as well. But I believe there's 7 overall, leaving one spot for a citizen.
Just one spot.
Just one spot.
But no, we're working under the assumption that the maps aren't going to change too much, but that is something that we've been thinking about. And of course, the maps can change. They can add seats. That could possibly happen with some of these state seats. But I'm glad you mentioned the Democratic county commissioner that we have, Shanto Serino, who's been here for a while. A lot of people know who he is. I was actually about to bring him up a second ago because I was talking about a certain senator from Texas.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. But of course, there's a legislative side to this. You're going to have to go to the courthouse, or you're going to have to go to the state capitol and work on legislative affairs, work on these bills and stuff like that. But there's also the other side to it is constituent services. And that U.S. senator from Texas, it was not a good look. It did not show that he had his constituents in mind when he wanted to fly to Cancun. Whereas Shanto Serino is a great example of someone who's got excellent constituent services skills. People in his district love him because if they have a down power line or a down tree or some other problem, he is the man that can help get it done, that can help fix their problem. If not, he can point them to where they need to go. But he is very, very involved in his constituents' life. He is a very involved county commissioner, and we're thankful to have him and have his example out there because, you know, some of these elected officials, they're sitting high on the hog and they don't care much about what their neighbors are going through. And we've seen that with decisions that our local and state and even our previous federal government. Well, our senators are still like that too. They want to really not do anything as far as this coronavirus pandemic is concerned. The light is at the end of the tunnel, it seems, with vaccines. But, you know, that's not, you know, we could still be dealing with this, hopefully not next year at this time. But this is because our leaders, definitely our state and local leaders, have not taken this, and our federal leaders too, Scott DesJarlais and Lamar Alexander and our new Senator Bill Hagerty, and of course Marsha Blackburn. They have failed us on this thing, whether it's helping people get money during a time of crisis. A lot of people are employed, unemployment is up. Or whether it's health guidelines. So, you know, I know that Bill Lee, you know, the numbers were getting better, the case numbers were getting better, the death numbers were getting better. So he's decided to open up Tennessee again. Well, you know, it's not over by any means. And right now is not the time to just throw up our hands and say, oh, yeah, we're going to be done with it. 500,000 lives have been lost in our country because of this. I think a majority of those could have been prevented. We were supposed to hit 250K total if we did everything right. And now we're looking at, double and a lot more coming down the pipeline. So I'm optimistic about the future. I'm hoping that we're turning a corner and we're getting into a better place, especially with these vaccines, especially with people who were on the fence about taking this seriously, seem to be taking it more seriously. But unfortunately, our state and local leaders are not there yet. But 22 could be a good opportunity to replace them. So we're definitely interested in replacing as many as we can.
Absolutely.
But like Mariah said, we're full of helpful advice. We want to see you succeed. So please contact us. Should we put our contact information up here?
That'd be great.
Okay, let me do that real quick. Do you have anything to add, Mariah?
I hope we get to see everybody on March 13th.
Yeah. Yes, please sign up. Please see us. Where do they sign up, Mariah?
There would be a post on the Rutherford County Democratic Party webpage with the event dates this evening. Should be going live this evening.
And tell me what issues you're passionate about, Mariah, that we can talk a little bit. Just give me a little bit of time here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Well, I do want to say one of the things as a U.S. government teacher that has always been really important to me was this idea of redistricting. And so I played a game actually, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually created this. She had a lot of really interesting educational tools and resources, but there was an online game that she helped fund that focused on redistricting for how it works and how the way that the lines are drawn really have an impact on how the election turnout actually goes. And so I've always been really passionate about redistricting, and I'm really excited now to be applying for this redistricting board because we have the ability to impact how voters' voices are heard. And if you ever see the lines, for the 4th congressional district, for example, it looks like a horseshoe. It goes like this. And entire counties are just like ripped right out of the center, and you have to go around Hamilton County to get to the other side. You have to you have to leave the county to get back into it. And, it just doesn't make sense. And even if you look at how our state house districts are divided currently in Rutherford County, we have 4 state house seats, but they all kind of come to a point in downtown Murfreesboro. And it's like they look at where the Democratic voters live, and they surgically remove portions of those voters and divide them between all of the state house districts, so that the Democrats don't have as powerful of a voice. And so, how these lines are drawn, they don't make sense geographically. They only make sense politically.
Right.
And so it's really important right now. And it's one of the reasons why in 2020, I really pushed the census, because the more accurate information we have, the better those lines have to be drawn according to federal law. And so, playing this game online, I wish I could remember what it was called, but I'll be looking it up as I fill out my application. By moving one block over in a neighborhood can completely change the outline of a district and completely change the turnout of a district. And so I'm really excited about, potentially being a part of the redistricting commission to help make the decisions on how those lines are drawn, or at least be a very loud voice in the process.
Well, that's a good point. We don't just have those kind of issues, because we do need to approach the gerrymandering that's happened. They're going to do it again. We need to confront that. But there's so many issues that are on the board. Tennesseans are struggling right now through this pandemic. They were struggling beforehand. If you're like me and Mariah, and you believe that someone who has a preventable disease if a death can be prevented, if just one death can be prevented, then we should prevent that death. Hundreds of thousands of Tennesseans are uninsured or underinsured right now. And it's something like expanding Medicaid our state leaders could help the lives of literally 300,000 plus Tennessee residents. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
They are purposely not making that decision. Education. They are purposely defunding education according to their own formula. They've been doing it for years.
And I'm sorry, this call is about over, but Matt can rant for hours. Let's not go. But do you know, and I'm sure you do, but I just need to bring it up because you said education. Do you know that charter schools were able to qualify for equal funding for public education as the public schools did in Nashville? Plus, they were able to apply for and receive the PPE grants from the government. And so they literally got between $700 and $1,400 more dollars per student in 2021 school year than our public schools that are scrounging to even afford masks for their teachers, or for their students. This is, it's absurd how our state is being run. I do want to let people know, anybody that's listening, if you don't already, there is a rent relief program finally coming to Rutherford County. The information is available currently. It just posted on Monday on the Rutherford County website, and the application will go live on March 8th. I have a lot of friends who are definitely in need of some rent relief, who've been out of work or underemployed since the pandemic started. And this is a federal grant that we've been given $10 million to give this money out. We have, I think, until the end of September to give out $10 million. Based on what I know, I think we'll go through it much quicker than that. And so once that money is spent, we can apply for more. And so I did talk to Mayor Ketron about this, and he said, that as long as they spend all the money, they can get more money for this rent relief. And so, So we are, as Stacey Nunley is pointing out, the Rutherford County Democratic Party is a community partner with the rent relief program. And so if there is any information that's needed, then you can you can reach out to us and we will help connect you to the right resources. And so, I think it's really important that, that finally some of these relief programs are in place. There are so many people, including my husband, who's been unemployed for the majority of this pandemic. He struggled to get unemployment when he lost his job. And, people like John Ray Clemens in Nashville were the only people that I know that were actually helping, not even their constituents, but citizens across the state. People they don't even represent, that can't give them anything but but some gratitude. He was helping them as well, as long as a couple of others across the state. But there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and we are the people to get the work done. And so, Matt, I think we need to leave it there. We ran over time, but and I know we can rant and talk all day. Arnold Wright has posted a I Dissent board game of Supreme Court opinions by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So that's in the chat as well. So she was an incredible woman, incredible fighter, and really focused on educating our country on how government works. And so I thanks Arnold for posting that. You can reach me at mariah@rcdp.org and connect with me there, or you can always find me on any of my social medias. And Matt, you.
Please sign up. It's going to be a great training. We'll go over this and so much more. And like I said, even if you're hesitant to want to pull the trigger on 22, if you're still interested in running after that, start now. Start learning about this stuff now. Help someone with a campaign in 22, and by 24, you'll be an expert. So there's lots of great information in this training to get. And of course, Mariah is a wonderful teacher and example, and I'm okay. So I'm just there to help her. But I appreciate y'all being on this video tonight. We look forward to many more meetings, and thank you for joining us. And thank you again, Mariah.
Thank you, Matt, for putting this together.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, have a good night.
You too.